Welcome to Brand Builders TV. Deep dive topics, tools and resources brought to you by global thought leaders from within the Brand Builders Club. This show gives you access to the strategies that you can use to move forward with ease and flow in every area of your life and business. In today's show, Caroline is going to take you through a process that enables you to redefine your truth and then shine like never before. Learn how to discover who the true you really is and empty your bucket so that you can fill it with all of the things that make you shine. Learn it, model it, and get shit done. Let's go.
Hello and a very warm welcome to Brand Builders TV. I'm Caroline Purvey and I'm going to be bringing a program to you over the next few weeks. You're going to learn about buckets, diamonds, and finding your truth. How do we do that? Well, we have to redefine our truth. I'm an author 3 times this year, actually. I was privileged to write 2 chapters for 2 books, 1 chapter for 2 books. And when you write a story, whether it's a chapter or a book, you're taking yourself out of your comfort zone. And so if we're going to discover our truth, then in the program that we teach, the Total Release Experience, that's where it takes you. But this series is about getting you curious about how that happens. How can we really get to discover who the true me really is? I'm known as the Feel It to Heal It specialist. And the 3rd book is my own. And there's a glimpse of the cover. It gets launched in October. And I'm going to start with a quote from the book. A comfort zone is a beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. I teach yoga as well. And constantly, I encourage participants to step out of the comfort zone. Sitting with old habits, not noticing. And by not noticing, we don't get to understand who we really are and how do we move forward. This is about resetting that reset button. Did you know you had a reset button? In order to reset the button, we have to redefine ourselves. We have to go a little deeper, but we go in a comfortable way. I want to introduce you to a new language as well. And that'll be the language that I'll be talking about. It's the language in my book. So, let's think now about the reset button. Reset button always reminds me of computers. And I make that analogy. I've got through more computers than people get through dinners in a week. Why? Probably like most. I've had to use computers, I've had to rely on technology over the years. But isn't it great? You buy that new laptop, you buy that new computer, and it's all fast and moving. You can feed it with what you like, and it keeps going. Computers are hardwired, complex things, and yet seem so simple to use, don't they? We just hit the keys, we load things up, we download things. And then one day, I don't know about you, but one day you start to notice It's playing up. It's slowing down. It's not firing on all cylinders. And we keep saying to ourselves, must get somebody to look at this. Must take off some of the stuff I've overloaded it with. But unfortunately, we don't do that. We try, but then we're always afraid, aren't we, that we're going to hit a button and something's going to happen that we don't like. And then one day, there we are, sitting in front of that computer. And if it opens up at all, it's got no life, you hit a key and then you see that button that says hit the reset button. Take it back to factory settings. How about that? Now we know in our mind if we took it back to factory settings, it will be all clean and shiny and functional and back to life. But no, we keep ignoring the signs. We keep hoping it will go away. We do a little tweak here and there. We delete some files and then wish we hadn't, wish we'd stored them somewhere else. But no. And then that day comes where you hit the button and nothing, the whole thing's just died because it's been overloaded. Have we got that picture? Have you been there? Now think of the human body. Your human body. It's amazing, isn't it? If you're sitting there watching this, or if you watch it later and you're sitting there, you know, what's your body doing? Chugging away, keeping you going. Wonderful. You don't have to think much about it. And yet, just like the computer, you arrive into the world all shiny and new, and over the years you get fed data, don't you? You get fed information, and you start to fill up. You take in images, conversations, experiences. And as we all know, life is like a game of snakes and ladders. You're up, you're down, good times, bad times, but you take it all in. And then what happens? Let's just put this into context first. Imagine your body as a bucket. We talk bucket language in our program. So psychologists back in the 70s said human beings, well, we're all stress buckets. And so we are, there's no denying that, because stress is part of life. There's good stress and there's bad stress. And we're concerned with the bad stress. But you fill your stress bucket up with all that information you put in, all the images, all the experiences, and suddenly it's getting so full and your wiring gets knocked out. And you start to notice that you're not functioning on all levels. And then something's knocking from inside. Hello, are you hearing me? Back pain? Had that one? Hip pain, neck, shoulder pain? This is your bucket knocking there saying, take notice, will you? But we don't, we ignore it. How many come to my yoga class and say, oh, you know, I hope it sorts my back out tonight. I know it'll help, but it won't sort it because it's something else. Gut problems? IBS? Another little signal from the bucket? Headaches? Can't sleep, mood swings? Maybe panic attacks? Anxiety? These are all little signs that the bucket is getting rather full and it needs some attention. Just like the computer. But what happens if we ignore the signals? Ask yourself, what happens? It leads to something worse. before we know it, we're either going up the doctor's surgery or we're taken into hospital. And for many who've completely ignored those signals, heart attack, stroke, cancer, suicide. Now, if we think of life in a bucket, that's what happens. But it's not all bad, because we can do something about it. And to do that, we have to redefine ourselves. So let's think now about how we actually get by. Whether we address the signals that our bucket's making, or whether we ignore them. How do we get by? And this week, I'm starting with the big G. I wonder if you can guess what that stands for. Gamble. And when we say gamble, what do we think of? Playing the cards, spinning the wheel, tossing the dice. There are many, many gambling addicts out there. And I can bet you many of them are gambling addicts because they're troubled, because their bucket's full and they don't know what to do about it. And so gambling is a great way of distracting. That's it. It's a distraction from what's really going on. So we hide from our truth all the time. Instead of trying to get to it and sort it, we mask it. And gambling's a common addiction that ropes in so many. It's not just about gambling. You know, it's about life. Isn't life a gamble? Of course it is. For years, we've all been gambling. Think of the things you've been gambling with. May not be obvious, but you know, we've been gambling with the friends we make, how we spend our time, with the partner we choose to spend our life with. It's a gamble every time. The jobs we take, the chances we take, the choices we make. Life is one big gamble. And everybody is in the business of gambling. I remember when my children were growing up, I'd always say to them, you know, you have two choices if that's what you want to do. You can choose that road, the A road, or you can choose the B road. If you choose the A road, this might happen. If you choose the B road, this might happen. But it's your choice. I'm not going to make that decision for you. Now, I don't know about you, if you're a parent, children go one way or the other. They'll either listen and take the advice, as one of mine mostly did. And there was one of mine that thought, well, I think I know what you think I should do, so I'm going to do the opposite. And there might be a little splat as we fall into the puddle. But that's it. We have to make our own choices. And even if we make a bad choice, we learn from it. We're learning all the time. We're learning from our experiences as we take those gambles. Now we live in a changing world, a COVID environment. You know, we've all started to get back to work. I've opened up my yoga studio. I've created my yoga bubbles. And it's great. But tonight, when the Prime Minister makes his announcements, he's taking a gamble. He's taking a gamble for the country, and we're all going to be impacted. Can we carry on doing what we're doing? Or do we have to change the way we're doing things? That's the way it is. I don't envy the government with the task they have to deal with. But on every level of your life, when you think about it, it's a gamble. You win some, you lose some. When the chips are down, you have to pull yourself back up. You have to deal yourself a good hand every time. That's what we hope for. It doesn't always work like that. But what gambling have you had to play with in your life? What decisions have you made? What choices have you made? Is there an element of a regret about them? You shouldn't have regret, because you made a choice. And it doesn't matter how bad things get, the only way is up. And you learn from the choice you made. And that is it, as long as we learn from the choice we make. But that's gambling. And so, what else do I want to share with you? Buckets are part of life. We all live in a bucket world, and we all have different degrees of content in our bucket. And for all that content, we have to choose whether to ignore it or whether to move forward with it and do something to support it. In our world, we call it bucket love. Because many, their chips are so down, they don't love themselves for who they are. And that's not a good place to be. Because if you can't love yourself, how can you be supportive and helpful to others? So many wear a painted smile, covering up the struggle of the bucket that they have to carry around. It's not good. It's not a happy world. Because deep in that bucket, guess what's buried? Yes, the diamond. Every baby born into this world, and that includes you, a little diamond inside, looking to shine. You are an amazing person. Are you as amazing as you can be? I'm going to say, no, you're not. Because I know something you don't know. Some of you may be watching and you think, I'm shining, and I know who you are. And I've seen that shine come through. Because you know what we know. I hope that's got you curious. Let me talk about bucket love. Every little thing we do that is nurturing ourselves, and we all deserve to be nurtured, come on. Every little thing we do gives us a little bit of a feel-good factor. And at TRE UK, we've created a lovely product bucket love cards. And these are very new, but very exciting, because they've come at a good time. We all need bucket love. 31 cards in the deck. Fun for one or all the family. They've been out a couple of weeks and I'm starting to promote them now. But you know, those that have had them, I find it incredible. Absolutely incredible. That they get in touch and they say, because the idea is, let me tell you, you shuffle the cards at the beginning of the day and with good intention, you close your eyes and you ask for the card for you. I'm going to pull one for you before we finish. But when people have got in touch and they've said, must tell you, I pulled the talk card today. Talking's good, of course. And they said, I went for a walk with friends and I found myself talking more than I normally would. And that made them feel good. Somebody else says, I pulled out the kindness card. Being kind to other people, doesn't it give you a feel-good factor? And this lady said, for the first time ever, I bought my friend a cup of coffee. Now that was kind, and I'm sure her friend was very pleased. But just that little act in the day, I bet that left her with a good feel-good factor. Somebody else, they were pretty troubled. They bought a pack of cards and I said, come on, shuffle the cards. And one dropped on the floor. And it was the freedom card. Now freedom is what we all need. Freedom from any physical, mental, emotional pain. And she dropped the card. It was the freedom card and I said, that's the one for you. And it said that your bucket can choose whatever it needs today to give it that love. So how apt is that? I was pulling cards earlier for my group. This is for a regular releases group. Introducing the cards to them, and funnily enough, the card I pulled was learn. Oh my goodness, so appropriate for me at this time. Because in the age of technology, you know, sometimes we have a struggle with it. And I have learned so much in the last 24 hours, I cannot tell you. Some of you might even know. But that card was exactly what I needed. So let's go through and pick a card for you. Although it might not be appropriate for you, I'll let it give you an idea. Maybe it will be. Can we please all the people all of the time? I don't know. But with good intention, here it comes. What have we got? Ah, there we go. Music. Look at the lovely image. These images, by the way, were done by Jennifer Garrity. What a talented lady. On the back of the card, there's always a little quote. Buckets enjoy music. And the activity, play a musical instrument or listen to the music that feels exactly right for your bucket and enjoy it. You know, music is good. And it's an excuse if you pull a music card, and I shall certainly do that later. Find something that you haven't listened to in a long time. Tune in to some music that makes you feel good. Whether that's calm and relaxing, whether it's upbeat, whether it's rocky, whether it's dancey. I don't know about you, but I love all sorts of music. Eclectic, I think they call it. I love all sorts of music, but different music suits different moods. So there we have it. That's the card for today. But just to show you some of these lovely illustrations. You know, gratitude, talking to people. I mentioned that one before. Dream. So every time we meet at the end of the session, I'm going to pull a card. It's good bucket love. So, I'm just being mindful that I don't run over my 30 minutes. I've been known to go on and talk, but I hope you find it interesting, the concept of buckets. That you're a bucket, a nearly empty bucket, a half full bucket, or a very full bucket. Start to redefine yourself. Think about the big G word, those things in life that you're gambling with, that you have gambled with. And ask yourself, why have you made those decisions? Was it pressure? Was it because you thought that was all you deserved? Was it because you thought you had no other choice? Was it because of fear? It's interesting, isn't it? When we make those choices, why do we make them? And if our bucket, like the computer, is full and it's not functioning, the memory's going, because that's what happens in the computer. The memory is going, and that's what happens with us. So there it is. A few questions to ask yourself, to reflect on, as we start the journey of redefining. If you want to know more about what I do, website is www.treuk.com. Message me if you've got questions. Be happy to answer them. Now I'll be back next Monday, 2 o'clock. And when we think about get by, we've done the big G. What does the big E stand for? So go and have a lovely day. Have an experience of playing music. Enjoy. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you next week.
I hope that you've enjoyed the show today as much as we've enjoyed making it for you. If you've got anything out of this episode, please do tell someone else how they can subscribe to the Brand Builders TV channel at youtube.com/Brand Builders TV. Why not join us at our next Brand Builders Thinkubator, a global mastermind that we run every week to take away the loneliness of being in business on your own. For more information and to book your place, visit light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. That's light.brandbuilders.club/Thinkubator. Until next time, be the ripple that you wish to see in the world, and we'll see you soon.